Good evening. The other night, I went to a local election, and this is really against my will, but because it was a cousin and a close friend that were running, I decided I'd go and vote for them. Because in prior videos, I've said don't vote, because it just encourages these politicians who are set in a system so corrupt and so absurd that there is never a fair election. And I'm talking about no term limits. These are reforms that I preach about, but people brighter than I have done so for years, decades. I mean, the electoral process needs to be reformed like anything else, like the technologies we live with. It must advance, get better, serve the people better. Because we are a government, like Lincoln said, of the people, by the people, for the people. And this election that I went to last week reaffirms indelibly my admonition against voting. Because when I went there, I was stunned, aghast. And I let the poll guard know this, who is my friend. He was a Vietnam veteran, a Marine, who served 2 tours. And I let him see who I voted for. Because you gotta hear this. There were about 10 offices up for election, 7 of which were filled by candidates who ran unopposed. The whole idea of an election is to choose between 2 or more candidates for an office. 2 or more. That's what it implies, an election, a choice. Make a choice. I vote for A or B. I vote for C or D or whatever. Here, I was confronted with a ballot of 7 offices of unopposed candidates, many of which were multiple endorsed by parties. I don't know who these parties were. Multiple endorsed, contrary to each other sometimes, like Republican and Democratic endorsements and liberal and conservative endorsements, and they all had the same endorsement. They were all endorsed by these parties, and I was very confounded, and I let it be known. And so when I'm confronted with this kind of farce, I write in names. And I should just tell you, the DA ran unopposed, so I wrote in Dudley Do Right. The sheriff, who I'm a friend of, he ran unopposed. Oh wait, he was the one I wrote in for Dudley Do Right. The DA, I wrote in Ironsides. And let me go on. There were 4 offices in my township that ran unopposed. The supervisor, the head of the town, no candidate against him. I wrote in, that could have been Lois Lane. The town clerk, I wrote in Sybil. because this is beyond bizarre. And the town receiver of taxes, I think I may have put in one of my neighbors' names, and the one of our town judges ran unopposed, and I don't remember exactly who I put in there. It could have been a cartoon character or another neighbor. But the point is, there were like 10 offices up for grabs, 7 of which ran unopposed. I don't know what we call this, but I think it's a farce. It's kind of goofy. A family court judge ran unopposed. Maybe that's who I voted Lois Lane in for. But it was very, very odd. And I spoke to the Vietnam vet, who was a poll watcher. He probably makes $100 for that. He's a Vietnam vet, good friend of mine. And I said, it's quite disturbing. And he agreed. He said, yes, it is disturbing that we have this grand republic with democratically elected officials, but if they don't run against, if there's only one candidate, what kind of democracy is that?